Yeah, hello friends. So this is Shalabon this side. I am a faculty in the Department of Mathematics and Statistics at IIT Kanpur. And well, today in the evening we are not going to have any formal talk, but that is only chatting, and I would like to convey some of my ideas which many students are facing at this time. So don't think that I'm going to give you very strong statistical thing or statistical topic, but my basic objective is that for the last couple of months we are facing a strange situation in our life. So we all are struggling to come over those things, and we don't want to get strangled, but we want to move forward. So since I am a teacher and now there are many students who are associated with me, so they are also struggling. So while talking to them means how to use this time, and then they are sometimes they are getting frustrated, they are depressed. Sometimes they want to know what should they do, how should they do. So all sorts of questions were there which I was trying to answer, and being the teacher of those students, they feel that well, I will always have an answer, and many times it has actually worked. So I thought that okay, why not to share these things with all the students. So in the first say this 10 to 15 minutes, I will try to address the students basically, who are young, who are energetic, and they are not used to offer this type of atmosphere where they have to stay inside the room for a very long time. Means I believe that as a teacher, I have seen that it is difficult for us to make our students sit in the class beyond 35 minutes or beyond 30 minutes. Now they are staying inside their homes for the last 3 to 4 months. So I salute them, and I kudos to my young generation who has shown such a strong character that earlier people used to think that well, these are the kids, they always want to go outside, they want to enjoy the life, but now they are trying to show a different type of means culture what they have learned in the past, and they are trying to prove themselves that okay, we are good, we are strong, and we can handle any such situation whatever comes in our way. So I would like to address these types of students who have shown their courage and they want to move forward. And after that, well, you know that there is an area of artificial intelligence which has become very popular in the last couple of years. And yeah, if you ask me, I was born only with a natural intelligence, and I was trained in only statistics. So, but now statistics is playing a very important role in the artificial intelligence. So many times people ask me, okay, how do you learn artificial intelligence, or how can we understand artificial intelligence, or how statistics is going to play a role in artificial intelligence. So these types of very simple questions comes to their mind. So then I thought, okay, as a statistician, how would I think about the artificial intelligence, and how should I think so that I can do something whatever is needed. For example, nowadays in every office, in every department, in every organization, they are talking of artificial intelligence. Either this is automobile industry or mobile phone industry or those application programmer. They are all looking forward for an artificial intelligence so that they can do some wonder. So my objective in this lecture will be very simple. That I will try to show you that how you can start thinking. Well, you see, I personally feel that thinking is the most difficult thing. Once you can think in the right direction, after that there are so many books, so many people to guide us. But the one who can actually think in the right direction, possibly he will be the most successful. For example, if you take an example of a bulb, well, bulb or tube light or the CFL, that will cost say 50 to 100 rupees. But when we say that who invented the bulb, we don't say the brand names, but we try to take the name of those people who had invented it. So my thinking is that if you want to be successful in life, you have to do something, and for that you have to first think about it, right? So that is the basic objective. So using the concept of and then linking the concept of statistics with artificial intelligence, I would try to show you that how you can think and how the classical things, whatever you have learned in the class, possibly they can be associated to some new relevant things, right? So let us now begin our lecture. So well, so now I will come to our first slide. Now you see, as I said, the first point of the first question which I am going to answer is very simple question: what to do during COVID-19 tenure? Yeah, I am calling it that tenure because I am extremely positive that in our life we always face many problems. They come, but they also leave. That is the best part. So this problem, this issue, this disease, this infection will also have some tenure, say a couple of months or something like this. So that is why I have used the word here, tenure. So in the last couple of months since this lockdown started in the country, and it was a sudden thing which we never thought in our life that this is going to happen. So, and those students who were asked to stay at their home, they were not allowed to go to the colleges, school, hostel. They could not come back at our IIT Kanpur. Also, many students went to their homes during the holidays, but they could not come back. So they started asking me that what now they have to do. And besides those things, means every day I get many calls, emails, messages, especially from the students. They are asking for the internship projects. They want to start a course. Sometimes somebody wants to conduct a workshop, and they ask me what should they do. Sometimes people say they are losing the time, or they will simply say that time is getting wasted because of this lockdown and because of this COVID-19 pandemic and so on. But now I ask you, what is your opinion? Are you really losing the time? Well, in this life, there will always be two options. Whether you try to remain in the control of time, or the time will remain in your control. So think about it and let me know, what is your opinion? Do you really think that you are losing the time, or time is getting wasted? Think about it for a minute. But I personally feel no, we are not losing the time. This is an opportunity. The opportunity is calling you, just grab it. Now you will laugh at me. That what type of things I'm telling you, how this is an opportunity. Right now I will say, if you recall a couple of months back, means at least I know that many students used to come to me. They will ask me, sir, why can't I learn this thing? So, sir, you have floated these 4 or 5 courses in the semester, but I want to do this course also. Or sometimes they will come, well, the syllabus is on this topic, but we also want to learn this topic. Now, how to do it? Means from morning till evening, we are busy in the classes, and then we are busy in the quizzes, examination, mid-semester examination, etc., etc. And they just wanted one thing. Sir, can you please tell me how to get some time so that I can learn this thing which is not being covered in the course wherever I am? Now I will say, this is the time where you can solve this issue, you can fulfill your wishes. I will say simply, pick up a book, read it, and master it as much as you can. Most simple task. But as soon as I say this thing, now the biggest challenge comes. What? Who will teach me? Right, that is the very natural thing which comes to their mind. Now, my question to all of you is this. Tell me one thing. How many things are there in your life which you have learned yourself? Right. If you remember, who taught you how to play cricket, how to play badminton? Well, there can be possibly some students or some people who can say, okay, I attended a coaching, I took some classes, and I learned cricket and badminton, etc. But now, have you ever seen this type of game where you used to take some marbles made of glass and then you try to play with something like this? Who taught you? Where is the coaching? And I believe that most of all of us in our childhood, we have played these types of games. There used to be very popular local games using some ball or some stones, something like this. Who taught us? Think about it just for a while. Nobody taught us. Then how did we learn? At that moment, there was only one condition, that we decided that we want to learn. Right. Now, my question to all of you is that when you can learn how to play marble, how to play the local games and etc., why can't you learn the topic? Why can't you learn a subject? That is only a matter of thought process. You have to just simply think that you can do it or not. And once you do it, then nobody can stop you. And that is the strength of the young age. At young age, I say my students are my biggest strength because they can do wonders. As a student, I might have done something, but my students are better than me because they have a lot of energy. The only thing is this, I have to convince them that whatever you are trying to do, that is correct, and that will have some output. So now here at this stage, if I can prove to all the students who are watching this video or this lecture that if you try to learn something, then whether it is going to be useful or not, then I am done. Right? Okay, so now what I try to say the first question means what are the topics, how I will get the material, who will help us. So first I will try to address this simple question. I will say simply pick up a topic. Okay, well, what are the possible topics? This I will try to address in a couple of minutes. I will say pick up a topic, try to look for a suitable book, some online study material, some video lecture. For example, if I say NPTEL has done a wonderful job. And nobody had thought couple of years back when this concept of NPTEL came into picture that NPTEL is going to be so useful in this pandemic. Right. And if you try to go to the website of NPTEL, there are many courses. There are hundreds of courses, and many of them I'm sure they are not taught in the classes or in the courses or in various colleges, universities, institutes. Or even if they are taught, they are not taught up to that level, but they have some level because there is a limitation of time and topics also. Right. So now this is an opportunity. Now if you ask me what type of topic, I can give you very simple example. Suppose nowadays there are R software, Python programming language, artificial intelligence. There are various topics in the statistics which I can promise you that they are definitely going to help you in your future. Recently I was reading a survey, then there was a sort of survey that this R software has become the programming language of R software, which we call as R programming. This is dominating the world, and this is the 8th most wanted programming language. Right, people need it. So I say, yeah, there are courses on say R software, Python, and artificial intelligence from very learned people on this NPTEL side. There are various types of online courses available, which are, and then most of them are also free. So there is no cost involved also. Right. So please try to do this thing. But as soon as I say this thing, you will have a question. Yeah, it looks very difficult. It sounds crazy. Means how I can do it, how I can learn this R software programming language or Python programming language or say anything myself. Now here I have an answer. Think about one thing, one situation. The first day of the class or the first lecture of the course, when you enter into the class, you don't know anything. But once the semester finishes, then you feel that yes, I know this topic very well. But if you ask me how many hours I spent in a course, in a semester, we said IIT Kanpur, where I teach, Usually we are spending between 40 to 50 hours of classes, or say, I will say on an average 45 hours of teaching. Now, tell me one thing, how many days are equivalent to 45 hours? Man, it is not more than 2 days, right? But well, sure, I'm not asking that in a 2 days time you can learn the course. Yeah, that will take some time. But if you try to think, if you just give 45 to 50 hours for a course, you are used to of spending or listening 5 to 6 hours every day in the classes to your teachers. Why can't you listen to those video lectures? Why can't you read those books for, say, if not 5 to 6 hours, but for say 4 to 5 hours, and then you try to think about those topics, right? Means, as a guideline, I can tell you that whenever we try to record the video lectures, usually we say that say 25 to 35 minutes of recording is equivalent to 50 to 55 minutes of a lecture. So that can be a rule of calibration. That can be a thumb rule by which you can decide yourself that how many hours you have attended the class today, sitting at home. Right? And sitting at home has one advantage. Your mom will always be there to give you a cup of tea. But in the class, a teacher will never bring you a cup of tea. So see how many advantages you have if you are trying to learn at home. Now I ask you, and this is the most important question, because I believe that to my students, if I can prove that whatever you are learning, it has some value and it is going to help them in their career. I always say my students are not scared of anybody in this world. They are scared of only one thing, that is their career and their marks. Right? But if I can prove them that what is the advantage of attending this course and whatever you are going to learn, that is ultimately going to help you in your career, believe me, I never had a problem of attendance in my class. Right? So now if I say just a hypothetical situation, suppose you write in your CV that you know the R software, you know the Python language, you know artificial intelligence, you know various topics in the statistics, multivariate analysis, and parametric inference, non-parametric inference, Bayesian inference, etc. Think what you have achieved. Just think. Now I challenge you. Once you include these topics in your CV, who will not give you the job? Or I can say that don't forget about the job. You will be invited for the job. People will contact you. Well, I have seen your CV and you know these many topics. Please come to my company. Please come for the job. Who says that there is a scarcity of job? The only thing is this: you have to learn those things which are sellable, which are needed, which are in demand. And this is the time where you can cultivate these things. You can collect these things in your pocket. And it will not take a very long time, I'm promising you. Right? Now, once you do this thing, just think how much value you have added to your CV. And remember one thing, this is a competitive age. If there are 5 positions in a company for a job and thousands of applicants apply, they are arranged in some order and the top 5 people are selected for the job. So once you add these topics in your CV, just think that within after 1 year, 2 years or 3 years, whenever you are going to apply for the job, just think how many you are ahead of how many people who are applying for the same job. Think about it. If there is a candidate with a CV which is written that the candidate knows R, Python, artificial intelligence, some statistics, etc., who says that he will not get a job? Right? So the only thing is this: you have to think about it. You have to decide yourself. And now my next question is that, how long would you like to hold the hands of your teachers, classroom, and elders? Think about it. You always wanted to be independent. Whenever your mom, whenever your father asks you something, in this young age you get irritated. No, I don't want to follow you. Now this is an opportunity where you can prove yourself. This is the time where you can prove to your teachers, to your elders, that, well, I have grown up. And now I am stable enough so that I can stand on my own feet. And yeah, your teachers, your elders, your parents, your classroom teaching, they have given you enough training. You are going to school and colleges for more than 15 to 18 years, 15 to 20 years. So how long time would you take to stand on your own feet? So this is an opportunity where you can be independent. You can use this opportunity to stand on your own feet. What else do you want in this life, man? And believe me, you will never get in such an opportunity to train yourself as an independent, learned, qualified, educated personality in this life. So think about it. Whatever I'm saying, that might look something like a fairy tale, but just give a thought and then try to see. Right. Okay, so now I stop with this preaching, I would say. Yeah, it looks very bad when somebody is preaching particularly to the youngsters. But as an elder, I thought that this is my responsibility to share my ideas. If even one student can be helped with this idea, then I will be the most happiest person in this world. And yeah, many of my students are calling me, and then I am giving my advice exactly on the same lines. And now they have no complaints with the COVID or with this hard time. Right. Now I come to another aspect, and my objective now is very simple. That what is an artificial intelligence and how this statistics can be related, can be joined with the artificial intelligence. Right. The question is that if you try to actually come to artificial intelligence and if you really want to execute it, this is not only a one item, but this is a combination of several things. That can be computer science, that can be computer programming, that can be statistics, that can be mathematics, or that can be any other science like as medical science, engineering science, biological science, right? So now I'm a trained statistician only, I don't know anything else. So I just thought that, okay, those who are working in the area of statistics, means actually statistics, such a thing which everybody knows. The only thing is this, I have to show that direction, that how they can actually think and how they can learn about, or how they can start learning about the artificial intelligence. Now, let us first talk about the human being. We always say that the human being is the finest creation of the God or the nature. Now my next question is, why finest? Why do you say that the human being is the finest creation? There is only one reason. There is a compartment, there is a component in our body which is called as brain, and the availability of brain has made us the finest creation of the God. And what is the advantage of having a brain? The biggest advantage is that the brain gives us the power to think and analyze. Analysis can be of anything, data, situation, condition. Means every day in our life we try to analyze different situations at our home, office, and we try to take a correct decision. And now the thing is this brain is giving you a power to think. How do you think? What is the fuel for thinking? That is the natural intelligence. The natural intelligence has been gifted to us by God. I will say gift because, those who are lucky, who are fortunate to have the power to think. And usually all the human beings have natural intelligence. Now you can think whatever you are doing every day in your life, means every decision is based on your natural intelligence. If the clouds are dark outside your home, you always outside the home. Right. Now I come to computers. We always say that one of the finest invention of human beings are the computers. Now the question is, why do we say that? Why they are finest? Because they can replicate many things which are happening in nature in a less time. Yes, I'm not saying that human being cannot do it, but they can replicate the things in a much faster way. For example, if I write, say, a simple expression for the computation that 220 plus 570 minus 880 into 990 divided by 2020 plus 470 minus 480. Usually, except some God-gifted people, a normal person like me cannot compute it. But if you give it to a computer, possibly it will take a fraction of a second. So, what has happened? If you ask me that how to add 2 and 2, possibly I have different ways by which we try to teach our students that how to add 2 and 2. Just write 2 lines and then 2 lines, then you add it, or take it on a finger, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So whatever I am doing using my natural intelligence, the same task has been done by the computer. So in simple language, I can say that the computer has replicated the natural intelligence. But natural intelligence is only with the human being. So that is why we call the intelligence of a computer as an artificial intelligence. Right. Because computer also cannot actually add 2 plus 2. There is a program, there are some instructions which have been embedded into the computer with the hardware and software, because of which they are able to do it. That is why their intelligence is not a natural intelligence, because they are simply following our instructions. That is why this is called as artificial intelligence. Now, once you come to artificial intelligence, or we briefly, the popular name is AI, this depends on the capability of the programmer. If the programmer is good, if the IQ level of the programmer is good, possibly he or she can write nice programs which can do wonders. But if the IQ level of the programmer is not good, then possibly the program will not be good and it will not give you the correct outcome or what you expect. Right. So I can say that when we are talking of a program, then what about the good program? A program can be said good, which is giving us the outcome which is similar to the outcome which we are expecting from the natural intelligence. Suppose if I ask you what is 2 plus 3, the natural intelligence tells us that this is going to be 5. And if your computer says no, 2 plus 3 is 6, possibly you will say no, this is not correct. Similarly, if there are clouds outside and it is dark, your natural intelligence tells, well, take an umbrella before you leave your house. But if you write a program and if you give the input inside the program as the weather condition, and if the program tells you, no, don't take an umbrella, will you call that program as a good program? Certainly not. So whenever we are talking of artificial intelligence, you will need the help of a good programmer who has a good IQ level also, so that he or she can make good programs. Now, when we come to the programming, we know that the programming is based on logic. Now, the next question comes to how do you get the logic and what is the logic? Right. Now, whenever we talk of the logic in a common sense, there can be 2 types of logic, which is one is mathematical and another is non-mathematical logic. For example, if I announce in my class that I will give grade A to all the students who are wearing a blue shirt, do you think that is it an acceptable decision? I'm sure my students will revolt. Right, they will leave the class, they will not come to my class, and they will simply argue day and night that what I'm doing. But on the other hand, if I tell them that, okay, I will give you some quizzes, some examination, and I will teach you something. Based on that, I will ask you questions. You have to appear in those examination. Based on that, I will give you some marks. And then anybody who is getting more than 80% marks in the examination, the student will be given a grade A. This decision will be accepted within a fraction of a second without even thinking. So the next question comes, why the first decision is not acceptable and the second decision is acceptable? The second decision is acceptable because this is based on the scientific fundamentals, and which we call as mathematics, right? And mathematics is an exact science. 2 plus 2 always be equal to 4. Either you try to calculate it inside a room or on the roof or sitting on the tree, right? Now, when we are trying to deal with experiments in a real life situation, there are many factors which are affecting the outcome. And the input and output of those input and output variables, they are subjected to different types of variations. And some of the variations are beyond our control. We just cannot control them. For example, if I say the room temperature, well, if you say the room temperature is 25 degrees, do you think that at every point in the room the temperature is exactly 25? Certainly not. Where is your fan or your air conditioner, the temperature will be cooler there, and if you move far away from the air conditioner or the cooler, the temperature will increase. Yeah, but on an average, the approximate value of the temperature will remain as 25 degrees. This is what we mean. So now the question is that when we are trying to deal with some real life experiments, then there will always be some random variation in the data. And when we try to club mathematics with some randomness, then we come to the subject statistics. So statistics helps us a lot in giving us or telling us how to take the most realistic decisions in life. And believe me, if you try to think right from morning till evening, you are using statistics 1,000 times in a day. Well, God has gifted us with the statistics knowledge, and our brain is so fast that we try to do all those statistical calculations very fast, very quickly in our mind. And we don't even realize that what type of mathematical operations I have done. For example, for the students, after they are shown the examination copies, the first question was they asked the teacher, what is the class average? Have you ever thought that what do you mean by class average? You simply say, okay, take the sum of all the observations and then divide it by the number of observations. Right. So, and then you depend on that value to take many decisions whether you have done fairly well in your exam or not. So now when I say that all the statistics, all the tools of statistics which are based on mathematics, but they aim to provide a result which is expected by the natural intelligence. Because we believe more on our natural intelligence, this is what we have to keep in mind. Right. Now, when we are trying to deal with the natural intelligence, we are trying to deal with the real life data, and the real life data will have some randomness in the data. And the statistics come to rescue. And the statistical tool give us an idea that how to take the correct decision based on some scientific fundamentals of mathematics, and they will take care of the randomness in the data also, so that the decisions are more likely to be as if they will be getting in the real life. Right. For example, if I say what is the average of the person sitting in a studies hall, whether would you like to find out the arithmetic mean, geometric mean, or harmonic mean, or median, or mode? Right, but once you get the value of the arithmetic mean, you believe on it that the average age of the person sitting in the halls, this is close to this value. Right. Now I will try to give you a very simple example which we try to use each and every day, particularly nowadays. Right. And I will try to show you that how the statistics helps us in taking different types of decisions. Right. As I told you that I will not be giving you any theory, but I will try to convince you that the statistics can help us. Now you have seen that nowadays many people are doing their shopping on some online websites. There are many websites which are popular like as Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, etc., etc. Well, I'm not taking these names, remember, to promote any site. Well, I'm just taking simply to convince you that these are the names of the site. Right. So now if you try to see, if I'm sure that you must have some experience of doing the online shopping. Suppose a person visits the website, say I go to Amazon, and suppose I click here and there. Sometime I am looking at the shirt, sometime I am looking at the suit, sometime I am looking at the speakers, sometime I am going for the cutlery, and sometime I am going for the laptop. Now, have you ever realized that if you don't buy anything and if you leave the website without shopping, after that you start getting some SMS, messages, emails, etc. And they will say something like, okay, you have left something, okay, you have left it without buying it, can we help you, there are more options. And if you don't do it, after that sometime they will start sending you some coupons and code. Okay, this is a special coupon for you which will give you 500 rupees off or 5% off, extra off, or 10% extra discount. I'm sure that you must have experienced those things. What do you think? Is there somebody who is sitting behind your computer, and or the Amazon has employed millions of people and then every person is watching us? No. This is all automated, and this is the outcome of an artificial intelligence. There is only a program which is watching the actions, and based on that it is trying to take some suitable action. And this is what exactly I want to show you, that how this process is happening. Right. So now if you try to see, suppose I am the person who is sitting in Amazon or this online shopping website. So now I have several questions. That what type of advertisement I should send to this customer? What type of offers I should send it to this customer? Should I send the offer on shirts or trousers or kurta or a speaker or cutlery or laptop? And you can compare it with your natural process, that if you go to a store, some customer care people will come to you and they will ask you, sir, what do you want? Do you want shirt? Do you want cutlery? Do you want a speaker? And as soon as you went to their counter, they will try to come and, sir, can I help you? And then they will try to show you that, okay, if you take this one, you will get 500 rupees off or something like this. And there is also a bargaining also. Exactly the same thing is going to happen. Now, as a statistician, as a programmer, I have to decide that how to target and how to send those advertisement or coupons or promotional offers to my customers. So how to now get it done? Well, have you observed one thing more? That after you do some browsing of some items on the website, then after some time you will be getting here this type of thing where I try to have a look where I am moving this cursor. Something like inspired by your wish list. If you have gone through, if you have explored some various types of say this dresses like as kurta, suits, etc., or if you have was the different types of cell phones, etc. So there will be another thing here, inspired by your shopping trend, inspired by your wish list. They will try to give you some option, and you can see that many things are very similar to those things which you were actually browsing on that site. Now, my question is, how does it happen? How do they come to know that the customer is interested in buying a salwar suit or a customer is interested in buying a cell phone? Who's taking that decision? That's the question. So Now, if you try to think that first you have to think that how to decide whether the customer is interested in which of the item. Right. Now, if you try to use the natural intelligence, you will see that when we try to enter into some store, and there are different sections of clothing and say grocery and some electronics, whatever I want, I will simply go to that counter and I will try to look the things over there. So that means inside that big store, whatever section I'm trying to target, that is my interest. This is my natural intelligence, and this is indicating that in that website also there are many sections, but try to observe how the customer is going over there. Right. And now the thing is this, how do you know on that site that which are the things on which customer is going and whether the customer is interested or not? Suppose if somebody is interested in buying a shirt, he or she will try to look at different brands, different sizes, etc. So if you try to see in that site, they will simply try to count that how many times a person has hit or explored this particular category. Right. And then they will try to count it. So don't you think that this is going to be a replica of the natural intelligence? But when I come to the artificial intelligence, I want to do it automatically. And I want to do all those things. I mean, the person has gone through various sections to find out the air conditioner, to the clothing, to the laptop, to the speakers, many things. But I want to do each and everything in an automated way so that the program can be written using those statistical tools. That is my thing which I want to now show you in the next couple of minutes. You see, if you try to write down this process, that how the things are happening. Now, whatever the customer is browsing on the site will automatically try to create a list of the items which are being browsed by the customer. And then they will try to group them together. Suppose if somebody is looking on clothing, say, so the customer might be browsing on the shirts, trousers, kurta, sari, etc., etc. The second group can be if somebody is going to the computers, the person is browsing on the laptops or the computers or some CPUs, monitor, etc. So that will indicate that the person is interested in a computer thing. Similarly, if the person is trying to explore on the food items, on the grocery items, so that will mean the person is more interested in buying the food. Right. Now I will try to simply count that how many times the person has browsed a particular group or the items in a particular group. Suppose if I say the person has browsed the clothing for say 100 times, the computer only for 20 times, and the grocery for only 5 times. So don't you think that our natural intelligence suggests that the person is more interested in the clothing? Why? Because he or she has a higher counts, and the higher counts of the hits, that is indicating the preference. So now I have translated my natural intelligence into an artificial intelligence, and I will simply try to make a very simple program where my program is counting the number of hits which are being present in different sections of clothing, utensils, computer, etc. And whatever is the highest value, this I will attribute, this I will call as if this is the interest of my customer. And as soon as I do it, then after that I will write there will be an automated program, and then if the person is interested in the clothing, within a couple of minutes, several types of email messages, promotional emails giving discount, voucher code, etc., they will be targeted towards the customer. It is something like, as the person, when he is trying to leave the shop without buying, you can see the shopkeeper will come behind you and will try to reduce the price, and the shopkeeper will try to give you different types of offers so that you cannot leave the shop without buying. Same thing is happening here in this automated programming, but that is the natural intelligence. The shopkeeper doesn't know anything about this artificial intelligence, but that is his natural intelligence which is telling him that, okay, how to stop the customer or how to sell the things. But now the same concept has been translated into the artificial intelligence using some programming. Now, in this process, the next question is how this statistics comes into picture and how statistics enter to rescue and provide the solution based on mathematics, statistics, and scientific logic. And whatever are the outcomes, the first condition is this: they should be dependable, they should be acceptable, and they should be flavored with some scientific value, scientific concepts. You just cannot say that, okay, at random, I want this, right? So now I'm trying to give you here how are you going to use the statistical techniques to execute this thing. I will say you start or say begin with very elementary statistical tool like as finding out the frequency distribution, descriptive statistics, graphical tools, creating different types of graphics. Yeah. Once you are trying to count that the customer has hit it how many times in a particular section, what are you doing? You are simply trying to find out the frequency, and whosoever frequency is the maximum, that is you are going to consider as if that is the preference of the customer. Now, after this, you have all the data. You can imagine that there are thousands, millions, and billions of customers which are browsing these types of sites every day. So now they want some statistical concept which can club, which can cluster, which can divide this data into different suitable groups, and they should give us the correct outcome which is more acceptable and looks more familiar, as if a normal human being is taking the decision. So for that, for example, I will try to take an example of here: cluster analysis, principal component analysis, and discriminant analysis. Well, these are the topics which we are all taught in any statistics course. But now I will try to show, I will not give you any mathematical details, don't worry. Right, but I will simply try to show you that whatever we have been taught in the class, how they are going to be useful and how they are implemented in this situation. For example, first I try to take the cluster analysis. The cluster analysis helps us in grouping the similar items. So now the customer is browsing through with the different types of say items or the things available on the website that may relate to computer, that may relate to clothing, that may relate to grocery, that may relate to utensils, right? And then you have to remember one thing, that when we try to do the shopping on the online site, means every item will have a code, and this code is defined in a certain way. For example, all the items which are related to computers, their code will start with 1. All the items that are related to the clothing, their code will start with 2, and so on. Then after that, the second place can be whether the clothing item is a shirt or a trouser or a kurta, and so on. So there is a proper coding by which these items are defined. So now, looking at these numbers, we will try to club them together in similar groups, and this can be done by cluster analysis. For example, means I would like to create the clusters of the choice of my customers, such that this is the group for the things which are related to computer, this is the cluster which is related to the clothing, this is a cluster which is related to the groceries, and so on. Right, so whatever our teacher have taught us in the chapter of cluster analysis, this is going to be used here. And if you know about cluster analysis, you will get this type of dendrograms on this type of clusters can be available. For example, if you try to see here this green color, blue color, and red color, etc., they are trying to give us an idea that these data points are similar. But this is an automated technique. Nobody does it with their hands. manually. There is a technique, there is a concept, there is a logic which is embedded into a program, and the things are done automatically in the way we want using our natural intelligence. Right? Okay. After this, once you have divided the entire browsing history into different clusters, and suppose you come to know, okay, this person is more interested in, say, clothing. Now, clothing can be many things. They can be shirts, they can be trousers, they can be sari, they can be kurta, they can be some handkerchief also. So, would you like to send the promotional emails for all the items? Certainly not. You would like to have a program which can tell you automatically that what was the interest of this person. So it is possible. I have a family, I have a mom, I have a wife, I have a daughter, I have a son, I have my brothers, sisters, and then I can do my shopping for all of them. It does not mean that because I am male, so I am only interested in buying the trousers and shirts. Means I can buy a sari for my sister, or for my mom, or even for my wife. So now, without going into the gender issue, the program has to look that where I was hitting more, towards shirts, towards sari, or towards kurta. And then I have to classify that what was my preference. And then that preference will be there. Okay, my first preference is for trousers because my brother's birthday is coming after a week. Then my second preference is a suit for my sister because Raksha Bandhan is coming after a month. Then there is a sari for my mom whose birthday is coming after 3 months. Whatever you think naturally, that is going to be reflected through this principal component analysis, and you will get this type of picture. Those who are familiar with this type of graphic, they can understand. Rest, you don't worry. It's a very simple thing, I'm promising you. Right. Now, once you try to do these things, then you will also be interested that, for example, if I try to take a very simple example, looking at my browsing history, the website would like to know what is my gender. Why? Well, today I am doing shopping for my mother, for my sister, for my wife, but tomorrow I may also need clothing for me. So what is the probability that the customer who is doing the shopping online is a male or a female? How to do this type of thing? Looking at the browsing history, remember, I'm not looking at you. So this thing can be done by discriminant analysis in statistics. The role of discriminant analysis is simply to classify an observation into a class, or there can be more than one classes also. And looking at the observation, I have to classify it into this group, or this group. Right, and you will see that those who are familiar with this discriminant analysis, you will get here this type of graphics also if you wish, although there are some strong mathematical calculations that are involved before we try to come up with the discriminant rule. Right, so all those things when they are put together, that there is a computer programming, there is a statistics, there is some artificial intelligence which is a copy of the natural intelligence. When they are put together, then they will give you a successful final project. For example, nowadays the government is looking for different types of applications which can give an idea that what is the spread of COVID-19. And if you try to look at the Arogya Setu, this Arogya Setu is a very good example of this type of data set. They only ask you to test yourself, and then they will try to collate the data from the neighborhood. How do they know that the person in the neighborhood has got some problem? They try to record your, possibly, I don't know, but I think that they are trying to record your geostatistics, that what is the latitude and say longitude about this cell phone, from where this data is originating, and then they will try to club the data based on some geostatistical techniques. And that is why you can see that it will show you that within 2 kilometers, within 5 kilometers, how many students, how many people are getting infected, how many people have used this Arogya Setu, etc., etc. So now you can see. And similarly, if you try to use various types of application, you always get a better outcome, right? So finally, I would say now what you can learn means I have given you a very simple idea to illustrate the importance of artificial intelligence, which is on a very high demand nowadays, I'm promising you. But in order to learn the artificial intelligence, you have to learn a couple of things, and among them, statistics is a very important thing. So all those people who are in any statistics course, they are doing it, and those who are not, for them this is a wonderful opportunity to learn them. There are different types of multivariate statistical analysis techniques, right? Whatever I have just told you, this cluster analysis, data discriminant analysis, etc., they are taught in any multivariate analysis techniques, and they are just available in any book, right? When my teacher had taught me, he had just given a lecture of 2 to 3 hours, and then he had just referred us to a book where there were 15 to 20 pages. And after reading those things, I can understand what are these things. And after becoming teacher, means I have to learn everything myself. So why can't you also learn it? Similarly, nowadays this Bayesian analysis, Bayesian inference, that is becoming very popular. This is a very important ingredient of your this artificial intelligence. In applied statistics, there are thousands of topics. There are very simple topics which you can learn, right? Quality control, demography, etc., etc. Many things are there. There are computational statistics. That is now we are talking of big data. The biggest challenge is even to find out the arithmetic mean in the big data. How you can find it out? There are tools. There are standard statistical tools which are available to us. But how to implement them on such a big data set? The big data means the data size is going to not to this megabyte or gigabyte, and not even terabyte. That is crossing the limit of petabytes. So you can imagine that this world is struggling. People are hungry. They are looking forward to all my young generation that they should think and give us some idea how to handle this big data analysis. Right, you can learn the programming with R, programming with Python. And yeah, I can help you, means if you need a book to start with in statistics, you can go to my home page. There, actually what happened that I have made my own book free, for free download till July 2020, because in the month of April, I realized that this world is going over a big trouble due to this COVID. Everybody is staying inside, so I requested this publisher, and publisher also asked me whether this book can be made free of cost to everyone, and I said yes, it must be done. Right. So after that, they have made it available for free till July 2020. Right. So you can download it. That's a very elementary book that will give you some idea about basic statistics. Right. That has been written basically keeping in mind to those students who have no background of statistics. So that can be starting point. There are many books. There is a lot of literature that is freely available that you can download, that you can actually view. Right. So I will say now, thank you very much for listening to me with such a patience. And yeah, this is the first time where I cannot see my audience. I cannot see my wonderful students, the biggest strength of my country, but I am proud of them. And since my students are good, that's why I am here. Right. So thank you very much. So now I will take the help of my colleague here. Muli, you can come. Right, he's my colleague. Saurabh, you can also come here. So you see, I am not a very high-fi person. You can see here, these are my two younger colleagues who have helped me in giving this talk. So I will be very honest in asking them now what to do. So I will. Right. Yes, ma'am. Right. So I will now come here. Right. So now I'm done. So I will just go through with your questions if you have anything, and I will try to address them. Possibly you have. Yeah. Okay. I will just. Oh my God, there are many questions. Okay, no, not bad. Okay, so I will try to. Okay, you have been asked to raise some questions here. I will try to read it and then I will try to address it. And I'm sorry if I cannot address it properly. So okay, the first question is, sir, I am. It is from Arjit Saha from Guwahati. Sir, I am a math student. I am possibly waiting for the lecture to start. Okay, welcome. Okay, now it is finished. Then Dr. Pankaj Bala Shrivastava from Lucknow. Okay, nice topic, informative. Thank you, ma'am. Then Simran Saluja from Amroha. How someone can make their future in AI? What are the steps that we have to take? Well, Simran, I have given you a brief idea, but if you want to really learn this artificial intelligence, you have to learn different ingredients. For example, this is statistics, mathematics, optimization, vision, inference, computer programming. But definitely, these topics are not very difficult. They can be learned very easily, and then you have to think naturally that how these tools can be put together to give us a right answer. Right. Okay. So, and then if you practice, I am sure that these things can be done. Right. So the way I have developed this lecture means I'm not trained in artificial intelligence, but I simply thought that okay, means I have some idea. I learned it from my younger colleagues, and then I thought that okay, how this statistics can be associated with this thing. So if I can associate the statistics and the same tools which I've been teaching in the class or my students know it, right? Why can't you also do it? It is not difficult. I'm sure that if you spend a little bit time, you can do it. Then next question is from Aniket Anant. How AI can be used in terms. Okay, let me see. Right. How I can use the regulatory affairs department of like drugs, medical devices, vaccine. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Aniket, you have strike at the right place. Well, you see, at this moment, I know the means all the government offices they are looking forward for the applications of AI in their own things. Yeah, I'm also involved in some government offices. I cannot tell you the details here, but surely you have to now think that how the things can be done. Means I have given you a basic concept. You simply have to use some statistical tool, and first actually you have to choose the statistics, the tools of statistics, so that they can give you the right answer which you expect from your natural intelligence, and then you have to simply plan it, and then simply you have to program it. Yeah, it is possible that in order to do something, some algorithms, some programs, they are freely available. For example, if you want to do the natural language processing, which is popularly called as NLP, then means I know that there are several algorithms which are freely available. You can simply use them. So this is only actually you who has to use it. And the question which you have asked, which this is a question which every government office is asking us. They have been asked to use this artificial intelligence. They are asking that how they can use it. But definitely, I have given you an example of artificial intelligence application through this Arogya Setu. So similarly, you are the only one who has to think. Okay, then it's Chiranjeevi. Nice and useful session. Thank you, Chiranjeevi. Thanks a lot. Okay, then we have Mr. Sarang Waje. I'm looking forward for a career in AI. I'm currently second year student BSc in computer science. What courses should I take up? Okay, I will say simply as I said earlier, you have to look for the courses in statistics. They are very important. You have to look for the courses in some optimization. They are very important. You have to, since you are from the computer science, so this computer programming should not be a big deal, but definitely you need to have a good logic so that you can develop an efficient program. For example, you will be working with millions and billions of data sets, right? So you have to think that how to handle that situation, and if you can do it, there is no problem that who can stop you in becoming a successful artificial intelligence professional, Right. Then Hardik Srivastava, sir, I want to learn artificial intelligence. What book should I reference for getting started with statistics? Yeah, I have given you one simple thing, but then definitely, Hardik, you have to go for more books. And what you are? I guess, yeah, he's a student, I guess. So I think now this is the best time that you are staying at home, right? Try to take some books and try to read from them. And one thing I would say to all the students, don't sleep too much, right? So otherwise this time will never come back. Okay, so then next is Spurti Saxena. What is the scope of actuaries and stats when Excel and computers of stats related software available? What tools are available to get to become more accurate calculation? Well, Spurti, you see, one thing I can say, well, this actuaries is completely based on statistics. They have got statistical tools which are actually used, and well, there are some other things which are needed for this insurance purposes. But yeah, statistics gives a very important tool. That is the first thing. And then you are asking what tools are available to get help to become more accurate calculation. You see, calculations are always accurate unless and until you are using an algorithm. And whenever you are trying to use an algorithm, they always tell you that up to certain order, their calculations are going to be accurate. Now, the last part of it, what is the scope? Scope, I am telling you, Spurti, if you complete the course on actuarial, people will come to your house and take you to their company to give the job. Some of my students have gone to this actuaries, and yeah, I was talking to one of them. He's staying in Munich in Germany nowadays, and he was asking me, sir, is there any student who is willing to come for actuaries and they can design a job for them even? So forget about the scope. You simply close your eyes and believe that there is a tremendous scope, no issues. The next question is from Jyoti. Okay, excellent. Thank you, Jyoti. Then Lakshmi Sankaran. Staying positive and learning are good for adults. What is for teenage learners and school children? How to help them understand the future is so bright? And yes, you see, as I said, Mr. Sankaran, in my beginning part, that whenever I go to my class, right, as a student, I know that the biggest torture in their life, in the life of a youngster, is to attend the class. Right, they have to sit for 1 hour in every class. But that is my experience, that this they are actually kids. They always call them as a young, well, they are young also. They are young kids. But in case if you can somehow convince them that whatever you are going to teach them, if they learn, their future will be secured and the future will become bright. And the moment they will be convinced with your statement, I'm sure nobody can stop them in becoming one of the best persons in this country, either professionally or say this at a personal level. Okay, then Jyoti, and then Mr. Sorry, Sabiha Nath. Okay, nothing. Okay, Mr. Amit Kumar. I am working as full stack developer for 10 years. I want to career in machine learning domain. Will it be a good decision? Yes, why not? He's asking that he wants to make a career in the machine learning. Will it be a good decision? Why not? Means I can promise you that the next 20 to 30 years they are going to be based only on machine learning. Nobody wants to do the calculations manually. Nobody wants to take decisions themselves. They are depending on, and this machine learning is nothing but that is a pure application of statistics, but on a very big data set. I can give you a very simple example. Suppose if I ask you to invert a matrix of 2 by 2, you can do it very easily. But if I ask you to invert a 4 by 4, you will take some time and you can do it. But if I ask you to invert a matrix of say 20 by 20, possibly you will use some algorithm and the software will give you the outcome. But if I ask you to invert a matrix of 20 billions by 20 billions, which is the current issue now, that can be done only through the machine learning. Same concept, whatever you have learned in your undergraduate, postgraduate, or doctor, whatever you have learned, those concepts have to be changed so that they can be applied to through some computational procedure, and that is called as machine learning. So why not? Trisha Singha, will any e-certificate be given in the end of the lecture? Well, Trisha, when I came here, Miss, even I don't know what I will be getting. I came here only to help the students, so I don't think gaining knowledge is more important than the certificate, right? So I cannot answer this question, but you can ask NPTEL. For me, the learning is more important. Vijay Sablok, as experienced software developer, how can I get a start in machine learning fields? Is there any program in IIT which we can connect with faculty to create projects? Well, you see, Vijay, yeah, it means I would say if you want to start with the machine learning fields, I would say the first thing will be the statistics and computer science. Both you have to learn. Means computer science means not a hardware part, but a software part, that how to be a good programmer, and then you have to learn the tools and concepts behind the statistical behind the statistics tools, and then you have to see how you can implement them in an intelligent way so that you get an outcome which is close to the outcome of the natural intelligence. Yeah, for example, as far as at IIT Kanpur is concerned, yeah, we have no program in say machine learning, but machine learning is simply like a course which is given in the at the undergraduate level and MTech level also. So right, so that is there, but I know that only the students of this place can join it. Right, okay, and then Javed Ahmed, sir, I have learned R programming and I want to do some project, but I can't able to find one. Please guide me. You see, Javed, say not Javed, but Manoj, sorry. Manoj is asking this question. I will say, you see, once you have learned the R programming, I will say whatever is your area, whatever is your field, try to see what you have learned and then try to program the same thing in the same language. For example, if you are simply this first year undergraduate student, I will say whatever you have learned in your mathematics or physics, try to write a program that how you can compute them directly, and you can write a some program so that from the next year, if your teacher gives those programs to the students, they can compute those things directly. So you practice more, you will become a good programmer, and project is only a solution of something of a known problem. So you try to create your problem yourself and then try to solve it. Why do you want to hold the hands of others? There are many topics in which you can do. Just pick up any of the book and this can be done. Then Javed is asking, nothing. See, Kavita, explain statistics model in a practical manner. Okay, yeah. So, Kavita, I can share with you. Okay, I am sure that as a student, whenever you want to choose a course for your semester, how do you do? Let us be practical. My students will always go to their seniors first and they will try to inquire about the instructors, whether this instructor is harsh or soft or something, and then they will try to choose the course if it is not compulsory. Now, at IT, I know that we are trying to give the grades, and we try to classify the students into grade A, B, C, D, F, and so on. So whenever and then it is not a rule that I have to announce my those cutoffs. So so now a student has got some marks, and after the exam they will come to me and they will simply ask, okay, sir, what grade I am going to get? Believe me, I always try to interact with them 5 minutes, and then 5 minutes after, I will try to ask them, what do you expect? They will not tell me anything, but I know that they know it, and I will not tell them the grade, but after 5 minutes when they will leave the room, I will ask them, okay, you try to write down your grades, what you are expecting, and then try to compare it with the grade that you are going to get. And 99% this is correct. So what is happening? All the students have created a model for me, that what is my grading style, how do I give the marks, and so on. And based on that, they have found a relationship between the grades and different types of components which are helpful in determining their Great. Just, means I can give you a more simple example. So, for example, if you are if you look at any agricultural experiment, the yield of a crop depends on many factors, say irrigation, temperature, quantity of fertilizer, quantity of seed, etc. So now, in case if you try to find out a relationship between the outcome of the yield and all these input variables, that will be actually a model. And now once you are trying to deal with this data set, you have two options. You can go for mathematical model or you can go for a statistical model. So whenever you are trying to deal with the data which has got some randomness, then we try to opt for a statistical model. And we have got different types of techniques through which we try to prepare the statistical model, for example, linear regression analysis, Bayesian analysis, and so on. Right. Okay. So this is what I have done. I've tried my best to explain you the model in the practical way. Then how to overcome the technicalities involved on artificial intelligence. You see, I will say, do you, Arvind? Okay, Arvind, do you remember how you have learned the bicycle? You have to hold the handle. You have to use your legs, and then you have to see here and there. And remember one thing, how many stunts you have done with your bicycle. I'm sure that your parents might not be knowing about it. Who taught you? Who taught you those technicalities? Nobody. That was only your wish. So I will say, jump into the river, start swimming. Whatever problems you come, try to solve it and then move forward. There is no unique answer, but your will, your wish, and your determination are the possible ways by which you can solve any technicality of your life. Okay. Then next question is nice. Okay, Swapnil is asking role of mechanical engineer in artificial intelligence, way to approach. Yes, this is taking. This is one of the hottest area also. For example, if you try to go with these car companies like as Honda or Mahindra, or now they are coming with different types of things that, for example, you have seen nowadays in the car that the speed of the air conditioners are automatically controlled based on the temperature outside. What is that? That's a simple programming, because you know by your natural intelligence that if the temperature is high and your car and the temperature inside the car is hot, you will try to put your AC at a higher number so that there is strong cooling. Now they are trying to read the temperature from the outside, and then they are trying to write a program that if the temperature is high, the AC should operate at point number 5. If the temperature is low, the AC should operate at that is point number 2. This is nothing but your artificial intelligence. So now the many things are happening, particularly with the safety features in the car.
Right. Let me just check. I think there was some issue with the audio. Right. So the next question, yeah, Prashant. Actually, it is not hyped. That is the need of the time. Now you have very good computers, and you have very good computations. Right. So I will say, Prashant, once again there was some problem. Okay, I will say, yeah, AI is not actually hyped, but that is the need of the time. That once you have good computers, you have good computational facilities, you have good software, you have good programming language. Why not to use this science to help the humanity? Right. So it is not hype, but it's the need of the time. And if you have the knowledge, if you have the tool, you can make the wonders. Right. Okay, then Mr. Venkat Ramanna is asking very nice session. So thank you, Mr. Venkat Ramanna. Then Mr. Prashant is saying good session, topic useful, good lecture. Thank you. Then Amit is saying thank to Professor and also to NPTEL. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Avan, thank you, sir. Sir, is trigonometry related to statistics? Anyway, no, trigonometry is trigonometry and statistics is statistics. Then Deepak is asking, sir, I am a second doing in Bharati Vidyapeeth College of Engineering. Should I learn AI from now? Why not? Yes, at least you should start learning the basics of basic ingredient of the AI. As I said, you must start with the basic programming, basic statistics, and then you can build up your knowledge on those things. Devendra Kumar Yadav is asking, is future in ML secure? Will it be replaced by auto ML? Well, future is I think you have to ask the God. But I will say, if you have the knowledge, then your future is secure, always secure. The knowledge is the basic ingredient of the life, and if you have good knowledge, means you can always update it. For example, if you ask me as a student, whatever I taught and whatever I'm doing, these are very different things. And still, I personally feel that I am just like a student. Well, there is always a fight at my home between my kids and me, that who is a better student, right? Sivaraman, very excellent, sir. For elder people like me above 40, what is the opportunity? Why? Mr. Sivarama, why you are harassing me? Why you are calling yourself as a elder people above 40? Above 40 is not elder. You are pretty young, right? If you call yourself elder, then what should I say to myself? Should I say that I am too old? Well, I think there is no age. You have to just ignite ignite yourself, and then age is what I think means. Even at this age, every day I have to learn many things, because when the student asks me, I have to give a reply. So yes, you can learn it now. There is no issue, and this AI and age, they are independent, right? And rather, I would say that if you are more than 40 years, then you have more experience of the life. You have more natural intelligence, so you can become a better AI person. Then Nipun Siroi asking, how to start learning and implementing AI from scratch? I have no experience in programming. Yes, you have to learn it. As simple as that, right, Nipun? As simple as that. What is wrong there in learning? Who stops you? When you were born, you couldn't know how to take even the food, how to walk, how to sleep. Ask your mom, who has taught you many things, and then after that you learned everything yourself. So just learn it, and then you start the career in your AI, no issues. Then Omkar is asking, sir, what topic from statistics can be included in a semester course in order to prepare a basis of AI? I will say that, okay, this is a means if you see in real life the type of thing which I am handling, we are using Bayesian inference a lot, we are using multivariate statistics a lot. But in a course, you have to deal with the basic statistics first. Once students are familiar with the basic statistics, then they can build up those concepts themselves. So the creation of foundation is more important than the higher end topics. Then Kanishk is asking, sir, how I can relate statistics with the stock trading with the development algorithm or those algorithm. Okay, can I develop them in C++? Well, you see, I don't know about the stock trading, but I know that stock trading is using a lot of statistics, particularly the time series. So, well, you have to means I know my students who are working with this type of companies which are dealing with this type of consultancies, they tell me that they are based on statistics. So I will say that there is not one course, not two courses, but you have to start from the scratch, and you have to pick up that what are the different types of tools which are usable in the stock trading. For example, I know that regression modeling, time series, etc., they are very much useful. Beyond those things, because I'm not doing stock trading, so I don't know. Right, then Siarik is asking, how can I know about Python? Well, Cursor language, you have to simply pick up Cursor free language. There are many tutorials available on NP sites, or on NPTEL site also, and other courses also. So you can just pick up those things, download the Python on your laptop, and then download the related software, and then just start learning it. The day you decide you want to learn, then there will not be any problem. Then Madhurima is asking, sir, I'm a student of physics at UG level. What courses should I take to learn, build career in AI? Well, you are in physics. Try to learn statistics, try to learn computer science, and try to develop your intelligence to see that how are you trying to take the decisions in your physics. Well, I'm not an experiment. I don't know much about physics, because I left physics after my undergraduation. But I know that whenever you are trying to do any experiment, there are outcomes, and finally you have to take a final decision. So you have to think that how the instrument is working, how the observations are coming, and what type of observations are going to give you what type of decision. So this is how you can go ahead. Kaushika is asking, thank you, sir, for the lecture. Thank you, Kaushika. Thanks, sir. Thanks a lot. Samarth is asking, what is the role of electrical engineering in AI? Yes, it is extremely important. I already have addressed healthcare, etc. Now, this electrical engineering, you can see, means you have this cell phones, right? Your cell phone tower signals are at different places. Now you have to develop something so that if one of the tower is not, for example, I'm just taking as an instantaneous example, that if one of the tower is not working properly, then how the signal should be diverted to this another towers. And if you talk to a person in electrical engineering, I mean, they will tell you thousands of application. Although I'm not an expert in this electrical engineering, but I have some friends, some of my colleagues at this institute who are working in this electrical engineering, and they are using a lot. I'm telling you. Adil Kumar is saying, Professor Shalab, yes sir, bataiye kya karna hai, what I have to do, I don't know. Yes, Lakapat Singh, yes, mic is not working. Okay, yeah, now it is correct. So what is the scope of electronics in AI? If it is anything which can be done in antenna and microwave passive devices? Well, Lakpat, I don't know about these topics, but I know from my colleagues who are working in the Department of Electrical Engineering, some of them are very good in artificial intelligence, and they are working in the electrical engineering, but they have made up their career only with artificial intelligence. So that much I can assure you that this is very important. I don't know about antenna and microwaves. Sorry. Right, Argan is asking, what is the role currently of AI type in core sections like electronics, civil, mechanical? What should the core areas a student should be doing? Well, I already have given you this answer, so I will skip it. Then Omkar Nath is asking, I am a BCom, did master digital marketing. Now, where do I get certification? Does NPTEL provide certificate? Well, I don't know. You have to ask the NPTEL office. Possibly they can tell us. My job is only to give the lectures and record the lectures and prepare the assignments and questions. Right. Then Kalpana is asking, sir, your voice is not audible since. Yes, I agree. I'm sorry for these things. Yeah, these things empty. Then Revati is asking advanced accounting. But she has not written any question. Then Shishti is asking, I want to ask very basic question. How can we develop logic for any program or problem, and what is the scope of CS to student in artificial intelligence field? According to sir, which I listened in the session, ongoing shopping, sidetrack, our searching. Well. Okay, Shishti, I can give you a real life example from my own life. Well, when I did my masters, at that time, these computers started coming to India. Well, you cannot think about that age also. And means I just joined a course because they were very expensive computer course. So I just joined a part-time course in some government college. So my teacher was they started telling me about this programming. So I could listen to them, and whenever I asked them, they will say, okay, means they will ask me simply to write a program to add some numbers. I will say, how to do it? He said, yeah, use your logic. So I said, okay. Then after that, I asked them one thing more. Then the reply was the same. Yes, you use your logic. And believe me, at that age, one day I started practically crying. Sir, from where to bring this logic? And I want to acknowledge my dad teacher, Mr. Shabir Ahmad, who just told me one thing: Shalab, just practice, and the logic will come. And now I can say, after 25 years, thank you, Shabir sir. Your advice worked, and with practice, the logic has come. So it's the same thing. What my teacher told me, I will convey to you. Just practice. Try to handle a problem. Think about it. The logic will come automatically. Right. Then Shristi is asking, session was great. I really want to see your sessions in future. Thank you, sir, for giving us beautiful. Oh, Shristi, you don't know. Since morning, I was so nervous today that there are so many students who are going to take my examination and they will ask me so many questions. So I was so nervous, and you want to make me nervous for one more day. But I will be doing. I will try my best to do it. Thank you, Shristi, for the compliments. Devapam Ghosh is asking, what is the concept of desirability function in multi-objective RSM studies? Sorry, Devapam, I don't know about this desirability function. I don't know many things in life. So yeah, this thing I also don't know. Now I will just come to if there are any questions which I put during the live streaming. So yes, so those who are appreciating me, I really thank them, that you are the people who give me that energy, who give strength to my soul, and which motivates me to work. Right. And then please remind me of webinar anytime. Good evening, fee certificates, etc., etc. I think there is no particular question which is need to be addressed. So I will say, I think several people have appreciated me. So I will say simply thank you very much for these things. Right. So. Okay, yeah, okay. I think one of the questions somebody had asked me that whether this NPTEL provides a course in artificial intelligence or not. So my colleague has told me that NPTEL provides the domain certificate in AI, that is 4 core courses plus 2 elective courses. Well, I don't know if Molly, you can come and explain them.
Yes.
That will be nice. So I will invite my colleague over here who can explain you.
Yeah. Good evening, participants. Hope you all had a great session.
I think so that they can have a look. Yeah.
So as you all aware that NPTEL provides certifications in artificial intelligence, we have a basket of courses. From that basket of courses, you have to pick 4 core courses and 2 elective courses. And after completing those 4 plus 2 courses, you will be provided a certification in artificial intelligence. More information is available in the portal. Just Google NPTEL domain certifications. You will get more information from that link. Thank you so much. Yes, sir, you can conclude the session.
Right.
Sir.
So now I cannot see any more questions from here. So yeah, so I would like to really thank you all for motivating me and to give this lecture. I hope you enjoyed it. Well, it was not possible for me to interact with you face to face, but someday I'm sure that we will have an opportunity to interact with all of you. And remember one thing: you have the strength. You are the human being. You have got a natural intelligence. The only thing which you have to decide yourself is that whether you want to learn or not. And then there is no age, there is no time. There are 24 hours in a day. Means every hour has 60 minutes. Every minute has 60 seconds. Just try to note down what you have done in the last 1 second, and in the evening try to explain it to yourself whether you used your day or not. The moment you start appreciating the value of the time, there won't be anything. As I said, 1 semester is equivalent to just 2 days. Means if you start studying something and you study for 45 hours, you will complete the course of 1 semester. Now you have to just think how much you want to stress these 2 days to learn any topic. And believe me, nobody can stop you. You are the best. Take care. Goodbye. May God bless all of you. Thank you.
Professor?